Welcome to the Untrapped podcast, where we give motivational and inspirational tips about life, small business, wisdom,
health, wealth, finance, relationships.
It's about being the best you that you can possibly be. Hashtag Untrapped. Welcome to the Untrapped podcast. I am your host, Keith Kelfus.
I want to talk about money, jobs, customers, and specifically low-paying customers. And say you're just out there, you got it going, you got some jobs going, and you're working your guts out, and you're not really making a lot of money. Why is that? Well, when I first started, in the beginning, I was working 90 hours a week, coming home to eviction notices. How is that possible? Because I didn't know what I was doing. I was getting walked on by customers. I was undercharging, over-delivering, and just really, as my buddy Dave calls it, who's a successful contractor, he says you got to whore yourself out in the beginning and generate a lot of activity in the business, and you're basically throwing mud at the wall to see what sticks. Beggars can't be choosers. So when I would tell some of my buddies, I'd cry and whine and bitch to them about, dude, I'm working 90 hours a week and I only made a $350 profit when I did the end. And when I did the math, $350 at more like 80, maybe 90 hours. That's, I was a retard, right? No. And if you're in that same boat, you're not either. I'll tell you really what's going on here. Like my buddy said, why would you work all those hours and do all those jobs for such a low price? If it were me, I would go work. I would just work, 3 days a week, and I would only take the really high-paying jobs, and then I'd take the rest of the week off, and I'd be making $1,000 a week, while you're an idiot running out there working 7 days a week, making $400. I'd make $1,000 in 3 days. I would only take on the high-end profit jobs. Well, when you're broke and you need money now, and it's an emergency, you take what you can get. Beggars can't be choosers. I always had the philosophy in the beginning, I work my guts out all day from morning till night for $300, for $400, the same way as I will for $40. And people thought I was crazy. And some of my friends who have small businesses, I've watched their money go down and them fail financially even, while for some reason I kept going up and up and up and doing better and better and better, because it's the ability to be humble, swallow your pride, things like that. Man, you gotta do what you gotta do, what you can do with what you have, period. So, if you go work all day and you only make $40, you learn a valuable lesson. You might not always take a profit to the bank, but here's what happens. You do a job, you make $40 off of it. But you know what you did? You got the job done, you shook the customer's hand, you gave him a business card. Every customer gets a 1 or 2 business cards. You say, if you like me, please refer me. And little by little, you keep growing and generating all this activity in your business to the point where now you're just like, you're getting slammed with all these low-paying, low-profit, pain-in-the-ass customers. You're working 1,000,000 hours a week. Not until you're so swamped and so booked out with so much work, and you know that you're booked and you got money coming in and jobs, even though it's peanuts, then you can start to be selective. Like the nerdy guy in high school who can't get a date, he's gonna go out with the girl or go to the dance with the girl who's willing to go with him because, some love is better than no love. Would you, if you were starving to death and all there was some piece of pizza with anchovies on it, it was nasty, you're gonna eat that because you're starving, okay? So all this crap that somebody who's more successful than you might say is, you're an idiot for doing that. I would have done it this way. Blah, 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 blah. It took me a long time to get over this hump and realize and understanding that I'm running my own race. You're running your own race. And looking at what other people have and what other people say and all that bullshit is really going to do nothing but make you spin and go emotionally out of control and just lose it. And I went through all that stuff too. A buddy of mine said, you're not an insured corporation. You got to build a business bank, man. He's like, you got to build a business bank. I'm like, what do you mean? Every penny I make in my business is going directly to pay my bills. You don't separate your business finances from your personal finances. You got to separate them. You got to build a business bank and pay yourself $500 per week, and that pays it. And I'm like, dude, every penny I make, well, I have over 12 grand in my business bank, and then I'm like, dude, it was so frustrating because people look from the outside in, and if you seek people's advice, the wrong people, you're gonna get the wrong advice, and then you're just gonna rip your hair out and pull and bang your head against the fucking wall over and over and over, and you're gonna be so frustrated, and you're gonna feel like a loser, like a piece of shit, like all that stuff. If you're anything like I was, man, I went through torture. Mental anguish and torture because I knew I had a vision. I knew I wanted to get this business off the ground. I was blind and in the woods. I couldn't see. I knew it, but in the way I had all this negativity and controversy and all this crap and bad advice from people that was just poor opinions that they didn't know and I didn't know. So it's just really a painful process you got to go through. So there's unconscious incompetence. What I'm saying is there's different stages you go through until you really, really know something. So think about something that you know that you're great at. A skill, I don't care if it's basketball or you're a great pool player, some video game, I don't know what it is. But you just know you're the bomb at that and you just know. Okay, so there's unconscious incompetence. That means you don't know that you don't know that you don't know. You're fucked. You don't know that you don't know. Then there's conscious incompetence, which is you're aware that you don't know. Like you're getting somewhere. You know that you don't know. Okay? Then there's, conscious competence. Conscious competence is the point where you're consciously aware and and you're getting some progress done. I understand this thing now. And then there's unconscious competence. Unconscious competence is where it's just second nature to you. It's completely unconscious. It's, bypass the conscious to the subconscious and you just do it automatically on autopilot. When you get to unconscious competence to that point where you're so competent and you're so well versed, you develop this sixth sense. You start getting lucky. You start becoming successful because now you're an expert in what you do. You got to start at the bottom. There's no shortcuts. And you got to become an expert, but you can't do that. You got to go through these painful steps and phases. There's a great saying I always liked by Casey Comden, this Amway guy, if you know anything about that. He says, you don't know what you don't know, that's why you don't have. If you knew what you knew, you'd have it. Because to know and not do, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know, that's why you don't have. If you knew what you knew, you'd have it. Because to know and not do means you really don't know. So we're surrounded by a bunch of know-it-alls, a bunch of people who think they know everything. I hate know-it-alls. I can't stand a know-it-all because somebody who's a know-it-all is as soon as they get a little bit of information about a topic, their brain extrapolates all the rest. And they're intelligent people, but they don't see the bigger picture that comes with time and wisdom. So they're like, oh, I already know all that shit. I already know it. I already knew that. I already did that. Okay, so those people are gonna fail. There was a time in my life where I was a know-it-all. I was so gung-ho on my path, so ADD that the blinders went up, and boo! You just fail. Don't be a know-it-all. The biggest step is realizing that you know nothing, because the more I grow in a business and an entrepreneur, and the more I get into the money world and around people who actually have money and have a lot of things, is the more I learn. I don't know shit. I didn't know anything. It's actually the more I learn, it opens up this, a fractal or this Fibonacci sequence. The more I learn I don't know, the more I learn I really don't know, and it keeps going on and on and on until infinity. So I have this client who, some multi-millionaire, and you guys who know me know what I'm talking about. He made the amount of money in a day in one transaction that most people don't make in several lifetimes. And obviously can't say any names, but I did say to him one time, because I built a little bit of relationship with this client, I look up to him. I said, dude, you made more in a day than most people make in several lifetimes, and you're not even flinching? He goes, no. I go, why? He goes, because there's so much more to get. There's so much more to make. There's so much more out there. I was like, whoa. I was like, that's so amazing. So when you really get into the business and money world and you go, aha, you look over the Grand Canyon, you're like, whoa, I didn't even know this existed. It's like looking out at the galaxy and seeing. I know I'm getting woo-woo on you here, but I mean, it's infinite. And my whole point is, if there's people out there who can make millions of dollars and live their dreams and live in big homes and exotic fancy cars and take their families on vacation and be able to sit back and kick their feet up on the beach and I'm getting fired up again. On the beach and have pineapple juice dripping down off their elbow, running their business from a laptop or a cell phone on autopilot. Why can't you make a couple grand a week? Why can't you? You can. If anybody's gonna do it, it might as well be you. If you grew up broke like I did, you need to turn the tide on your family. You need to turn the tide, okay? So don't listen to negative people. You're gonna get to that point where it's like Leonardo DiCaprio in that movie on that island where like, he's a crazy schizophrenic. Like you feel like you're losing your mind at times. You feel like you're going crazy and you don't even trust your own senses. I'm telling you, in the beginning, I was working a landscape job. I'm not lying, 10 hours a day like normal. Come home, immediately leave and go do quotes and then go work until dark every single night. I'm coming home to my wife crying, my fiance at the time, saying I don't spend any time with her. I'm blowing my money on these landscape toys and on my stupid toys when I need to be paying the bills. I'm like, but honey, these shrub trimmers I just bought for $200 are going to make me money so we can pay the bills. She didn't understand that. When you try to explain business to somebody who's not in business or not in your business, they're not going to understand it. And then you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to question your own sanity and be like, am I insane? What if I'm doing something wrong? Oh my God, what if it doesn't work? Blah, blah, blah. And that doubt's going to creep in. Doubt is the tool of the devil. The self-doubt will destroy you and hold you down. Okay? So you got to push forward in spite of all that. You got to believe in yourself and your vision so strongly that you push through all that, because that's what a leader does. On the other side, on the other side, on the other side, I got an uncle who always made fun of me and cracked jokes on me. Oh, you're going to be Mr. Successful at family events, because I was always a gung-ho. I always had my head in the clouds. I went to a family event yesterday, dressed very nice watch. You could just tell that my wife and I are well put together. We've, I'm not saying we're rich by any means, but we've come a long way and we look like we have money. He shook my hand. He goes, Keith, I'm real proud of you. You look like you're doing real well. Really well. You look like you could just see a success exuberating off of us. And you know what he fucking said to me? He goes, I always knew that you were going to make it. I always knew. He actually said that. I've been hearing about this my whole life. All the people that said you can't and that you won't and you never can, blah, 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 are the same people who are always going to say, I always knew you were going to make it. And it actually happened to me. Okay? So that's a surefire sign of success that it was hard. I don't like to talk about myself, and I always end up doing it in the videos because it's my true story that I've actually come from nothing and I'm watching it turn into something in front of my own eyes. It's literally a dream come true. And I just want to share that with you and let you know that you can do that. Because if you're stuck in a landscape job and you're suffering and you're coming home and you're fighting with your old lady or you're broke and you can't keep the lights on, it's never going to change. Another job, it's not going to change it. Let me go back to school and get my degree, and after 6 years I'll be $180,000 in student debt loans and even further screwed, and you won't be making jack shit. Because if you're stuck in a landscape job, see, landscaping is like the mafia. Once you get in, it's very hard to get out, okay? If you did it for years, what else you gonna go do? Work in a cubicle? Go work in a factory? You're gonna be screwed, man. You gotta get a company off the ground. It's way easier than anybody would ever think, and all this crap you're creating in your head of how I don't have the money to start my own business. Look at those big trucks and trailers. I need like 20 grand. No. In the beginning, I had a piece of shit pickup truck I got for $600, and by the time before I even got my first trailer, this was a small enclosed 12 by 6 foot trailer that I got for $750, cheap as peanuts. My pickup truck, before I got a trailer, was filled to the top with tools so high, all my shrub trimmers and all in the back, and grass and shit. I looked like Sanford and Sons, like going down the road. It was funny, okay? And I pulled up in a rusty pickup truck. When I opened the door, tools would fall out. It was crazy. I finally got a trailer. I finally did it. You will finally get it going. And you'll look at those other people, and you'll be like, like when you finally do it, you realize That's how they do it. That's how those people drive those nice cars. That's how those people have all those equipment. That's how those guys get all those work. That work. I used to be like, how do you get that work over in the rich areas? How do you work for those people and make all that money? It just happens, man. So, I'm ranting now. Again. And I hope you got some value out of this video. And I'm gonna end it now. I gotta do this quote. Alright. Keith Kalfas, landscapingemployeetrap.com. Check out a blog. If you just go on Google and type in the landscaping employee trap, my stuff will pop up. Because I need you to add me on Facebook. I need you to add me on Twitter. I need you to like my videos, post comments, and help me get this thing up off the ground to spread the word. But you know what my old man said to me yesterday? He's like, Keith, you're gonna teach other people how to get their own landscape company off the ground? You're creating your own competition. You're gonna put yourself out of business. I mean, like, that type of scarcity mentality, there's abundance everywhere. There's millions upon millions and millions of people everywhere, all moving and changing and growing every second, like, just nonstop. I want you to be successful. I really do. I want your business to blow up. I want you to become a frickin' millionaire, and I want to see a success story. I want you to make it, okay? There's so much work out there. It's insane. There's always people moving into new houses and moving out, and then people growing up and getting houses, and people that need work, and the grass will always grow. The shrubs will always need to be trimmed. The brick pavers will always need to be installed. It's going to keep happening and happening, okay? So it's not saturated, because that was my fear. The landscape business is saturated. I won't get any work. All these people have already hired people, blah, blah. Dude, don't believe that crap. That there's a lot of business going on, that's a surefire sign that it works. Okay? So, bye.